Vaxxitek HVT+IBD is a revolutionary new vaccine from Marielle that controls both infectious bursal disease and Marek's disease with one vaccination in the hatchery. As you will rely on this single vaccination to protect your birds from both Marek's and IBD, it is very important that you pay particular attention to the handling, mixing, and administration of Vaxxitek. Like all Marielle vaccines, Vaxxitek is manufactured to meet the highest quality standards. By following these guidelines, you will be able to better control the quality and performance of the vaccine. Proper mixing and handling must be practiced every time you mix Vaxxitek in order to ensure the performance of the vaccine, as this is the best chance you will get to protect your poultry flocks from two important diseases. Good vaccine preparation begins with a clean work area with as few people as possible actually in the mixing area. We would like you to think of the mixing process as being just like a hospital environment. You will be performing an operation of sorts, mixing Vaxxitek from start to finish, and this process must resemble the sanitary measures followed in a hospital. All vaccines should be handled in the same manner as any other biologicals in a clean environment. You need a clean room, free of dust, insects, or other possible contaminating elements, sanitized instruments, and freshly washed hands. Just like a doctor performing an operation, it is important to plan in advance and have all of the needed items prepared and ready to use before you begin mixing Vaxxitek. First, you will need a sanitizer to clean your work area. It is recommended to use alcohol swabs to wipe the entry points of diluent bottles or bags, antibiotic bottles, dye bottles, or any other products that you may be using in the mixing process. Swab the port with alcohol and wait 30 seconds for the alcohol to dry. You will need a water bath to thaw Vaxxitek. It is important to thaw the vaccine quickly, but only in water that is not too hot. Your water bath will need a temperature gauge to measure the recommended water temperature of 80 degrees Fahrenheit, 27 degrees Celsius. It is also important to use clean water, preferably distilled water, in the water bath at the start of each day. This will help reduce the chances of contaminants entering the ampule once it's opened. Because we are treating the mixing lab like an operating room, good personal hygiene and biosecurity of the person mixing Vaxxitek is critical. You should be careful not to bring contaminants into the mixing room from the chick processing area. This is best achieved by putting on a clean lab coat that you keep inside the mixing room only. This lab coat will also help protect your arms when you handle the liquid nitrogen. You should wash your hands each and every time prior to performing the mixing procedures. You should avoid the use of cloth towels as these can harbor bacteria. Using disposable paper towels is recommended. Diluent should be stored in a clean storage room at normal temperature, 65 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit, 18 to 27 degrees Celsius. Storing the diluent at room temperature can show you if there is bacteria present because bacteria contamination causes the diluent to change color or become cloudy. Always check the diluent to be sure it's clean in its appearance. Diluent should not be stored in refrigerated areas. Using cold diluent can chill chicks when being applied subcutaneously. You should have and use safety glasses or a face shield, long-sleeve protection, appropriate protective shoes, and gloves before removing the vaccine from the liquid nitrogen tank. Your safety glasses or face shield should be used during the entire mixing process. It is highly recommended that any person working with liquid nitrogen be familiar with its safe usage, handling, and be aware of how to handle emergencies involving liquid nitrogen. Ask your Marielle representative for a copy of the World of Liquid Nitrogen presentation to review. You are now ready to mix Vaxxitek. Remember to wash your hands thoroughly. Inspect each bag of diluent for clarity. When contamination is present, the diluent will become cloudy or the color will change to a yellowish color. If the diluent is questionable, do not use it and use another bag or bottle. Marielle does not recommend the use of dyes, antibiotics, or other additives that are not approved for use in combination with Marielle vaccines. Many products can have harmful effects on the vaccines. If you are going to use dye, begin the day with a fresh, unopened bottle. Severe contamination can result from reusing old, partially used bottles from previous vaccination sessions. Remember to use an alcohol swab to wipe the injection port of the bag or bottle you are mixing. If you are using sterile dye or other additives, it is recommended that these products be added to the diluent first. You should allow a few minutes for the additives to be thoroughly distributed throughout the bag before adding the vaccine. It is permissible to pre-mix some of these ahead of time as long as you do not make more than you can use in one day. Always dispose of all unused, pre-mixed diluent bags at the end of the day so you do not accidentally use them the next day. Marielle produces many live vaccines that are stored in liquid nitrogen, so be sure that the vaccine you are pulling from the liquid nitrogen container is Vaxxitek. Raise the dipper with one hand to the top of the tank neck and select a cane of vaccine with the other hand. Remove only the number of ampules you plan to mix immediately. Replace the dipper into the nitrogen tank and replace the cover on the tank. Once you have removed the ampules, it is time to thaw the vaccine. This process should be done as quickly, yet thoroughly as possible. Hold all of the ampules of vaccine by their tips and gently swirl the vaccine around in the water. If you are thawing more ampules than you can hold, you may use a clean spoon or other device to hold them, gently swirling in the water. Do not swirl the vaccine in a harsh or shaking manner. Shaking may harm the vaccine. And also remember, never leave ampules unattended during the mixing process. Vaxxitek must be completely thawed before opening the ampule. Notice the difference between partially thawed ampules and completely thawed vaccine. Always dry your hands and the ampules before opening them. Drying the ampule helps prevent any moisture from entering the vaccine, and chances of potential contamination are reduced. Now that the ampules of Vaxxitek are properly thawed, it's time to mix the vaccine into the diluent. Remember to clean the diluent port. This is a critical step, and proper care in this process can greatly affect the efficacy of the vaccine. Use caution when breaking the ampule. Using an ampule breaker or folded paper towel will help minimize the chances of accidentally cutting yourself. For additional information on the proper and safe use of these materials, please refer to the Material Safety Data Sheet, MSDS, that are supplied with the products. Once the ampules are open, it is helpful to use an ampule holder to secure the ampules and their tips. This allows for better handling when drawing the vaccine out of the ampules. Using a fresh syringe and a needle of adequate size, 18 gauge or larger, draw 2 to 3 mL of diluent into the syringe. Now, slowly draw the vaccine into the syringe, holding the syringe at a 30-degree angle with the beveled edge of the needle facing downward toward the bottom of the ampule. Continue removing the vaccine out of all of the ampules you are mixing. It is important to remember not to move the vaccine through the syringe or needle any more than is absolutely necessary to accomplish the mixing process. Once you have all of the vaccine in the syringe, gently inject the vaccine into the vaccine port on the diluent bag or the diluent bottle by holding the bottle so that the needle is in the diluent. Now mix the vaccine by moving the bag or bottle back and forth. Do not shake, as this may compromise the vaccine. Some of the Vaxxitek may stick to the glass ampules. Rinsing the ampules with the diluent and vaccine mixture can help recover the vaccine. Once all the ampules and tips are filled, then you can go back and withdraw the vaccine from each ampule and tip. You will then inject the mixture into the diluent bottle or bag you are mixing. Remember to properly dispose of all used needles and syringes in an approved biohazard waste container. Remember to once again gently swirl the bag or bottle, thoroughly mixing the vaccine. It is recommended that you write the time that the vaccine was mixed on the bag. Doing this provides you an easy reference for how long the vaccine has been mixed and in use. Marielle recommends that you mix only enough Vaxxitek for a 45 to 60-minute session when vaccinating sub-Q or 60 to 90 minutes of being used in the in ovo method, utilizing ice packs. We hope this instructional video has helped to show you the proper methods to follow when mixing Vaxxitek for use in the hatchery. By following these guidelines, Marielle has provided an essential quality assurance method by providing the highest quality of vaccine for day-old chicks.